In a not-so-distant future, the United States is torn apart by a brutal civil war. An authoritarian federal government, led by a president serving a third term, struggles to fend off secessionist forces. Despite public claims that victory is near, it's clear that Western forces, led by Texas and California, are closing in on Washington, D.C. In New York City, veteran war photographer Lee Smith narrowly survives a suicide bombing. Alongside his journalist friend Joel, Lee devises a risky plan to interview the isolated president. They meet with their mentor, Sammy, who tries to convince them not to go but ultimately decides to join their journey to the front lines in Charlottesville, Virginia. Along the way, they encounter Jesse Cullen, a young aspiring photojournalist Lee had seen at the bombing, who convinces Joel to let her tag along, much to Lee's dismay. After leaving the city, the group stops at a gas station guarded by armed men. While there, Jesse wanders into a nearby car wash and stumbles upon the guards torturing two people they accuse of looting. One of the men follows Jesse, but Lee diffuses the tense moment by taking a picture of the guard proudly posing with the captives. Later, Jesse criticizes herself for freezing in fear and failing to document the scene. After spending the night near active fighting, the group witnesses a secessionist assault on a Loyalist-held building. Lee sees Jesse's talent as a war photographer and starts mentoring her. Jesse captures the disturbing moment when the secessionists execute prisoners. The group then stays overnight at a refugee camp before passing through a small town, where the residents, under strict surveillance, try to maintain a sense of normalcy and ignore the horrors of the war surrounding them. Later, the group gets caught in a sniper battle among the wreckage of a Christmas fair. As they take cover, the snipers taunt Joel for questioning who they're fighting for, bluntly stating they're just killing those trying to kill them. As the violence continues, Jessie becomes more desensitized, and her photography skills improve. She asks Lee if he would take a photo if she were to be killed, and Lee responds that he would, without hesitation. While driving, the group runs into two foreign reporters they know, Tony and Bohai. Jesse and Tony switch vehicles, with Bohai driving ahead with Jesse. The others catch up and find the pair held at gunpoint by a militia in uniform who are burying civilians in a mass grave. Sammy stays behind while Lee, Joel, and Jesse try to negotiate their release. However, the militia leader executes both Bohai and Tony for not being American. Sammy intervenes, ramming the militia with their truck to help the others escape, but he's fatally shot while trying to flee. Traumatized by the recent events, the three survivors arrive at the Charlottesville WF base, only to find most of the Loyalists have surrendered. Washington, D.C. is now only defended by die-hard remnants of the armed forces and Secret Service. Joel, drunk and angry, lashes out at what he sees as Sammy's pointless death. Lee tries to console Jesse, suggesting Sammy would have preferred to die doing his job. But when Lee finds herself unable to document Sammy's death, she deletes a photo she took of his body. The trio embeds with the WF as they assault D.C. Jesse repeatedly risks her life to capture photographs in the heat of battle, while Lee struggles with PTSD from the violence they've witnessed. When the WF breaches the White House's defenses, a convoy carrying the presidential limousine flees, but WF units intercept and kill everyone inside, including the First Lady. Realizing it's a diversion, the trio joins the WF soldiers as they head into the White House. As the group moves through the mostly abandoned White House, they find it filled with dead staffers, likely suicides. A lone Secret Service agent attempts to negotiate the president's surrender but is killed in the process. This leads the remaining Secret Service agents to engage in a firefight with the WF. Jesse steps into the line of fire to take photos, but Lee pushes her to safety, sacrificing himself. As Lee is shot and killed by the Secret Service, Jesse captures his death on camera. Unfazed, Jesse continues into the Oval Office, where she watches as soldiers drag the president from under his desk, preparing to execute him. Joel briefly halts them to get a quote from the president, who weakly pleads, "Don't let them kill me." After getting his response, Joel stops intervening, allowing the soldiers to proceed as Jesse takes photos of them posing with the president's lifeless body.